The White House reportedly is evaluating a complete blockade of all oil deliveries to cripple communist Cuba. More reports indicate Cuba is on the brink of economic collapse. Joining us now from House Ways and Means, he's Florida GOP Congressman and U.S. Army veteran Captain Greg Steube. Congressman, it's good to see you. What would a complete ban, it's great to have you on, what would a complete ban, it would be a major escalation from disrupting just Venezuela's oil export. Cuba gets oil from Mexico, too. What do you expect would happen?
Yeah, I would think the Mexicans are going to want to cooperate with us, given the bilateral relationship that we have. You've seen the dire straits in Cuba because of the Venezuela sanctions. All of this oil is sanctioned oil and operating illegally in international waters. So the United States has the ability, just like we have done with the Venezuelan oil tankers, to seize them. Even with those operations, you've seen the crippling of Cuba's economy. It's very grim there. I think more steps to curb any type of oil going into Cuba will have a devastating effect to their economy.
This is Trump getting communism out of the Western Hemisphere. Political quoted anonymous sources who said that oil is a chokehold to kill off communist Cuba's regime. They've been in power since 1959. That this is a, quote, 100% 2026 event in the view of the White House. Do you see this happening this year? We got Secretary of State Marco Rubio. He's going to testify Wednesday about the ousting of Venezuela's communist dictator Maduro. Do you see this Cuba, Cuba collapsing a 2026 event?
I certainly think it could, because they rely so heavily on Venezuelan oil, and that's completely cut off. That's their form of income. It's sanctioned oil that they use. It's at a discount that they use to pay for their communist regime and their communist government in Cuba. So you could absolutely see in 6 months what the economy of Cuba looks like today. It's going to obviously be in much worse shape. Yeah, I mean, I think you could see by the end of the year them being in a position where hopefully the ruling class, the communist class, will give up, strike a deal either with the United States or decide to have a democratic free election. That would be a great thing for the state of Cuba.
Congressman, let's switch gears. We know that Europe has been critical of the president and the Trump White House. Listen to NATO Chief Mark Rutte with a major reality check to Europe, telling Europe, quote, keep on dreaming if you think Europe can defend itself without the U.S. Watch this.
So when President Trump is doing good stuff, I will praise him. And I don't mind him publishing text messages. And if anyone thinks here, again, that the European Union or Europe as a whole can defend itself without the US, keep on dreaming. You can't. We can't. We need each other. For the US to stay safe, and by the way, Arctic region is evidence here, they need a secure Arctic, they need a secure Euro-Atlantic, and they also need to secure Europe. So the US has every interest in NATO as much as Canada and the European NATO allies.
What do you make of what you just heard? He agrees with what Trump is doing.
Yeah, absolutely. NATO and the UN wouldn't exist but for the support of the United States. We have capabilities. You saw it in the attack on the Iranian nuclear sites. You saw it on getting Maduro out of Venezuela. You've seen all these military operations. There's no other country in the world that has the capabilities militarily that we have. We have the right to defend our hemisphere, and we have the right to defend our country, and that's what President Trump is trying to do with the Golden Dome. If the EU is going to stand in the way of that, obviously President Trump cares more about America first and our national security than he does the EU, and is going to do what we need to do to protect ourselves.
Thank you so much, Congressman Greg Steube, and thank you for your service to America.